What's up, guys? Jason Geiman here, and tonight I got my friend Jeremy on, and we're gonna just kind of chat and talk. I did put $100,000 in there, and he did hit $100,000 months, and for Christmas lights and pressure washing, and so we're kind of gonna break that down and what it looks like to do $1 million business. Last year was his first year hitting $1 million, and so we're gonna talk about that. But we're also just probably gonna sit and chat and kind of go over what are things that separate you, how you can be better, how you can do better, and all of that. If you don't know who Jeremy is, I talk about Jeremy all the time. He used to be a garbage man, and he started a business. It was a different name, and then he named it Pink Pro Wash eventually, and from there they have grown very well. Again, this week's book, I've been reading it some more. It's a great book. I highly recommend this book. Endless Customers, you definitely should read this book. And so that is a book that I highly recommend. If you want to grow your business, and I know in this book he kind of talks about, you should be doing 1 million to 10 million is where you should be at to read this book. But I promise you, if you take a third of this and put into action for your book, into your business, it will grow. And so that is the book of the week. It's brand new, hot off the shelf. The audio just came out yesterday. I started listening to the audio while I was working out in the morning. And so both the audio and the book are out now. So that is definitely a great book. I highly recommend for you to read. So this weekend, I just got back from Utah. Pretty out there. The snow's still on the mountains. I came back with learning about more. We had a company, Lights at Wholesale, where we all got together. If you didn't know, I just got off of another live. You want to learn more about it, go look on one of my earlier lives on Facebook, and you'll see where I shared where I was on a podcast about it, and there was a lot of great information in there. Not as much as going to be in here, but that's okay. So with that, that's enough about me. Jeremy, let's start with you. Tell us a little bit about who are you, where you're from, and just a little bit about your backstory and what got you into pressure washing.
All right. Yeah, Jeremy Maine. We're in just Metro Detroit, actually in Birmingham, Michigan right now. It's where we live. Um, Grew up uh, young mom. My parents struggled my whole life. I, they never they never succeeded really. They never got a chance to win. Living in my grandma's house growing up. Um, Always had hard jobs, construction, furniture mover, and then I was a garbage man for about 16 years. Um, Through that, I started a couple jobs here and there, businesses. I don't even call them businesses. Doing landscaping on the side, doing moving on the side. Finally, started watching your videos and a couple other people, and gave it a shot, and just started doing jobs on the weekends, and grew this into, I guess, now $1 million company. So it's been fun.
So what as what so it wasn't easy, and a lot of times people think it's easy. So what has been the thing that has helped you most to be able to get to where you are now?
Action, I'd say action and mindset. It's not easy. I mean, it really isn't. But staying where you're at is much harder. I mean, the life I lived before is definitely a lot harder. It's simpler, but it's much harder.
So one of the things that you've done quite a bit is to be able to hit $100,000 a month in pressure washing and probably $200,000 or $300,000 in Christmas lights a month. What what I always talk about your first $10,000 a month is probably way more exciting than your $100,000 a month when you're doing it. And when you hit those milestones, talk a little bit about the difference between the two, hitting those two different milestones.
Yeah, it was mind blowing at first. While I still had my job, I was booked at like 25,000 that month, and I was still trying to decide if I could quit my job. I I mean, it took. I actually delayed it a couple months. We had COVID going on at that time, um, and it was July of COVID and of 2020, and it was we had $25,000 booked, and it was like I was losing money going to work, and I knew at this point if I didn't quit then, I probably would never quit. And I just had to decide, worst case, COVID shuts everything down. I could find another job. I have a CDLA. I could find a job anywhere, but change is hard. So I finally made the jump, and best decision I've ever made.
So that's when
Second
I
best.
first met Jeremy. He actually came to one of my first Christmas light classes in October of that. Actually, it might have been November. It was at either the last week of October or the first week of
Yeah.
November. And that's when I first met Jeremy. Didn't know that 5 years later we'd be good friends and doing things together, which is pretty cool. Um, what what had when you started doing Christmas lights and thinking about that? Did you think, or even back then, 5 years ago, did you ever think that you could hit $1 million business?
I mean, I probably would have said it, but realistically, I never thought I'd hit it. I never thought we'd grow the company to where it is now. I literally was okay. I'm just gonna do everything. I like working. I'll do everything, and I can make more than I am at the garbage company, and possibly do more for my kids, and at least be a good example for my kids on how to do something.
So one of the things that Jeremy has done is invested in himself, and he likes to talk a lot about the same thing I like to talk about is the 6 inches between your ears. Tell me how that has changed over the last 5 years and how that's helped you grow your business.
Oh yeah, my mindset's gotten so much better. I mean, now I really feel like we can do anything. I mean, it's when you talk to people in business that are struggling, it's usually their mindset. It really, it's obvious within the first couple minutes of talking to somebody why they're not successful. It's not the area they're in. It's not because that this happened to them and they're still struggling about this happened when I was a kid and I couldn't be successful that or I had this problem and they're taking it through their whole life. And it's not the problem. You got to drop those and focus on being successful.
You know, Jeremy's in my mentorship program, and he's one, and so is Chip, and both of them have done a lot of burn off stuff. And it's really neat to see new people come in and how we kind of all attack them about the words you use. How important is it about the words that you use?
They're one of the most important things you can do use because when you start speaking negative words, your brain doesn't know if it's that you're talking to somebody else. I mean, that's your brain thinks you're talking to you the whole time. So you start talking negative, even if you're talking to somebody else about something, you start feeling negative. And when you were talking about that, I think one of the things that's helped me is I think I'm very, very honest. And I think that's helped me. And I hadn't really thought about that till you just were talking about stuff. That I mean, I do that. I do what's right for people more than anything. If we lose money, that's fine. Let's do what's right, and let's be honest. I mean, when we first met Jason, I said something to him kind of mean, but it's because I was just honest. You remember when I said
Which part? Which one?
it? Yeah, which one? When I first met Jason, I go, I thought you were doing a carnivore diet as he was eating a piece of pizza at 9 in the morning. And that's just me being honest. Like I'm just trying to check them, like, hey, what's going on? I thought you were doing carnivore. And then I thought afterwards, I'm like, that was really rude. But I'd rather be honest about it.
So the words that we use can go a long ways, and a lot of the words that we use in every day is important of what we're
Yeah.
telling ourselves. What are some things that we can do, or and this don't have to? If you got any questions for me, you don't just ask me. What are some things? What are your thoughts? I should put it this way. What are your thoughts on the words that we're using that we need to change in how we say things?
You got to eliminate any negative words, um, self-limiting beliefs.
Let's talk about that one. That's probably one that I feel like most people struggle with.
Like, here's an easy one. Like, I'm not good at reading, right? I'm not good at reading. In the past, I haven't been good at reading. I'm getting better at it though. You know, I'm I'm not good at off. I used to, I'm not good at office work. You know, I'm not the best at office work, but I'm constantly getting better. Everything needs to be a win. You got to constantly be getting better every day. If it's even if it's 1%, 1% better is better than nothing. If you're
But
not doing
Jeremy,
better, the other way.
but Jeremy, I'm not at your level. You're doing $1 million. You must have been educated. You literally were driving a garbage truck when you got off of this job, and you did it for 16 years. And not to say that but you could look at that as a negative, or you can look at that as a positive. Of I learned these things for 16 years, that was able to allow me to start listening to somebody named Jason Geiman to change my mindset that I could start my pressure washing business.
Yep. I was able to be on a truck by myself with earpods in, listening to podcasts, videos, anything I could get. Tony Robbins. I mean, I just literally put it in and just let things play on YouTube. It was just constant motivational stuff or learning how to do a deck, how to clean a roof. I mean, anything I could get. I never listened to the radio.
So, when you first started, was it just real easy, or did you have obstacles right out of the get go?
Oh yeah, there's always obstacles, but if you want to take it as I lost or I lost money, no, you learned something. You still won. I know how to do that better next time.
So, one of the things that happened to you that was probably the best thing happened to you, but you didn't probably think about it at the time, was your hip. What happened when you had to figure out that you had to have a hip replacement?
Yeah, it was scary. The first year after quitting, and in my mindset, like, life happens for you instead of to you, right? That's the other thing you got to think. Something happens, it's happening for me. Like, there's got to be a reason this is good. So the first year, I started limping, and it kind of was hurting. Finally, went to a hip specialist. After I got rid of my, really good union insurance, now I had not so good insurance, and they said I need a hip replacement. I said that guy must be that guy's just trying to scam me. Like, I don't need a hip replacement. Like, I was like thinking in my head, I just tore something, or it'll be better. So I went to four other doctors, and they all said I needed a hip replacement. So I still struggled. I just dealt with it for about another year, limping around, getting stuck on roofs. I couldn't walk. Had to lay on a roof for a while until I could, get going again. And then we brought my brother on. He was the first hire,
Yep.
and he was a union iron worker. So my youngest brother that had a union iron working job in my family, that they were all about getting a good job and staying there forever, get a pension, which that was a good job. I mean, he traveled to Florida, Atlanta, all around, but he's chasing jobs from one job to the next, and he quit his union ironworking job to come work, and I thought my family was going to kill me.
So once you did that, you started on your own, started growing it. What what is one of the things that you've kind of come to now? You've kind of worked yourself out of a job. What what how's that feel?
At first, it felt scary because it's to the point now I don't know how to do a lot of the stuff the office does. But now I've really uh, enjoyed. I've kind of found my niche of networking with people, and I really enjoyed that because that's what I've always enjoyed. But I was probably scared in the beginning to really do it, to just go start talking to people about the company and try to make new relationships. I always wanted, just no, I need to jump on the truck when anything got hard. Anything in the business got hard. My first thought was, I'm just going to jump back on the truck. I'm better off on the truck. I can, I somebody else can do this other stuff. I'll just get on the truck. But now I've really realized that my key role is a little bit overseeing the company, but is just networking and meeting people.
And you're doing how many network meetings a week, pretty much?
3 to 5, sometimes more than one a day.
And how has that helped you get larger jobs?
It's definitely starting to pay off, and that's why I think a lot of people, they start to do this and then they stop because it doesn't happen right away. You're not just going to go to one networking event, meet somebody, and land a big job. You just got to go there. You can't go there trying to win on the first thing. My mindset when I go to any of these meetings, even sales, is I just want to go have a good conversation with people. I want to help them. If they need something, I want to refer someone I know that's a good company to help them out. And then after a while, it does pay off that, hey, this is a nice guy. This company is great, and they start referring you. You get really big fans that they start talking about you on social media, or their family, and next thing you know, you get calls. I just had someone in from Florida call us for our Raleigh location to do a job.
So why did you name it Pink Pro Wash?
So so in the middle of the night in Arizona at Responsicon, I I wanted to give back because I don't care. It's not about the money for me. I want to do something big that maybe can raise some money and help people. So I came up with Pink Pro Wash. I bought the domain name at 2 in the morning, and then had to convince Jen in the morning that we're going to change the name of the company. That we set up the Google AdWords, everything. That we're going to change the name of the company, and it was the best decision second best decision I've ever made. Jen was the first.
Right.
So after we got back, um, like literally the next day, someone I know from high school posted that they're working with this organization, 5 Points of Hope, that helps cancer patients. That gives them grants, and 100% of the money goes to helping people. So we reached out to them and became their first corporate sponsor, and we just committed to send money every month when we weren't really we weren't doing that much at that time. But as soon as I did that, as soon as I made a commitment, our sales really skyrocketed. So before and then the reason, and you know why? Because I have a hard time talking about this. I lost my mom to breast cancer. 20. It's been 25 years now, and I really I struggled for a long time because I had two younger brothers, and that I was really close to, and I wanted to help them, but I never did. I wanted to do things, and I couldn't help them with the way my life was. I was a shit show at that time, um, so I decided to do this for my mom, and it's been a great decision. We're helping a lot of people.
It's awesome. So I'm going to read. If you all got questions, don't feel free to put them in the comments here. Um, I see Kevin just posted something here. I got my first uh, pressure washing job, 6 school buses. Thank you so much for the motivation. I am at the point of trying to leave the job. You have made me believe it is possible. Scary. Um, you know, it is, it can be, but it is what you make it of. So, um, you know, that's definitely something that it's awesome that you got that, and it's one of many to come. So that is just taking those steps and keep pushing forward and keep doing what you know what you need to do, and that's what you can do to grow your business. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I would say two things since you're in the beginning. Really focus on why you're doing this. Like the book Start with Why. Does it start with why? I think.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that was one of the first books I read. I mean, and that was hard for me. Like, it was really hard for me to read. It just at night I would try to read a little bit, and every night I just kept reading it. Of Start with Why, and then the other thing I wish I did from the very beginning is journal. I wish I would have journaled everything from the very beginning, so you could really look back and all the stuff you were thinking every day. It'd be great.
Yep. And Kevin said, "Thank you."
Because money won't get you to where you want to be if just focusing on that.
Correct. So let's just talk a little bit about what is your goals.
I'd like to do some more locations, grow this. We can grow it a lot bigger, but I'd like to do more locations and help people with that. Help people start, get everything going for them, and then build it big enough to where I can help more people. That's the main thing. However that looks, I just want to help people.
Right. So when you get to the point of helping people, what's your why? What is your why? Talk asking about why. What is your why?
Yeah, I mean, at the base of it is just help as many people as I can. I want to inspire people to do what they want to do. If it's start a company or just even help them invest so they might be a little bit more financial secure. I mean, it can look at a lot of different ways. I'd like to eventually get a sailboat and maybe sail around the world or sail around the Caribbean and be able to bring people out on it. And that's my passion about being on the water. That's what I love.
So here's a question for you. What do you like better, Christmas lights or pressure washing?
Christmas lights.
So let's talk about Christmas lights. Why do you like them better?
And it's not even about the money. It's not because we half our revenue comes from Christmas lights. I like the people. I mean, when you wash a house, you don't get a family coming out, bringing their kids out, and the kids are jumping up and down, happy, and that's the best part. I mean, we've had people paid for lights for their kids that aren't even they're not even in the state. They just called us. I want to surprise my daughter. Can you do lights on their house? We've had their sister. They don't even get Christmas lights, but the sister had kids, so they want us to do lights. We've done that. Um, Probably the most emotional is we've done a lot of lights for people that have terminal cancer. So we've donated a lot of lights, and I'd like to do more. We've had a customer, we washed their house, and then we found out afterwards that they did not have lung. And we did their lights, and I think just after the holidays, we found out she passed.
Right. Yeah, Christmas lights are definitely a lot of fun. I like doing Christmas lights the best. Um, it's definitely the holidays is a lot better for making
Yeah.
everybody's holidays better. So
It might be a little more stressful because it's so many calls, but you can only handle so much work.
Pat, Patrick put $15,000. Well, maybe if I can get it to not freeze up here. $15,000. What did he write right here? $15,000 February, $20,000 March, April 12,000, May going to be 20,000 or better. Close rate is 45%.
There you
That's
go.
awesome, dude. That's awesome. You know, you got to start somewhere. And so, one of the things that I see people struggling with is understanding that as you grow a business, you can't do everything. And you have to hire people. And to be able to get to where you have gotten, how has the process of allowing other people to do the job and allowing people that are probably better than you to do the job? Let's talk about that a little bit.
Well, it's never going to be perfect. I think a lot of people struggle and they delay. They don't start because they're trying to make it perfect. At some point, you just got to go for it. You got to get some employees. Got to let them go on their own eventually. You can't babysit them the whole time, and there's going to be problems. It's how you deal with it. Um, we're working on systems, trying to get better. It's it's a constant. When you're growing, it's constantly building, trying to get better. But we're lucky. We got a lot of good guys. They care about the company, and they've realized that it's about doing the job right. If they got to stay there longer to get the job done, they're not cutting corners. We're not if they take longer and they need to, we're not mad because you know it's okay. Let us know what's going on, and we'll deal with it.
Right, for sure. Um, so, with that, what are some things to do to try to get good employees?
Well, you got to treat them right. You got to really you got to care about people. If you just are looking at people like, oh, I can get this guy and he can do so much a week and I'll make this much, they're gonna see that. You know, um, you really got to care about them, their families. Um, yeah, that's what I think it really comes down to is treating them right, and you got to get the systems in there because if you don't train them right and you don't have you set them up for success, they're gonna fail and they're not gonna like you. you know,
And in the end, it's your fault.
yeah,
You know,
everything's your fault.
you can't blame the employee that they did failed because it's your fault at the end of
Yeah, if they leave a gun at the house or leave a ladder still on the house, Well, that's my fault for not making them take pictures afterwards and not doing an inventory check after every job.
Yep.
You know, when the problem comes, it's like, all right, that's great. Now we can add a new system. Like, now we got to figure out a way to fix that. Like,
Yeah, that's how pictures came into play. We kept screwing stuff up, and it's like, all right, we got to start taking pictures. Otherwise, we're paying for a lot of stuff that we don't need to.
yeah. Why
That's
are we missing all these guns and why are we missing ladders? Like,
the biggest one for me was the $1,200, $1,000, $1,200 water fed pole,
carbon. Yeah.
and we went
The
back and
first
it
year,
was Gandhi.
first year, we left a job and I was there working with the job. It was late, and Montana actually had his pickup truck, and he put it in the truck and he didn't put the tailgate up. $1,200 pole gone.
So what? So let's talk about your network meetings. What are some things that you look for when you're going to a network meeting?
Right now, I try to look for. I mean, are these people possibly in the network with our clientele? You know, are they someone we might do business with? The area really helps. I mean, are they people that do business in the areas we do business in? Um, and you know, some I've been to some, and I'm like, oh, that was a nice event, but that's not right for us. You know, we've done trade shows, and then we set up a whole table and everything, and then come to find out it was really just a bunch of senior citizens walking around trying to get free stuff, trying to get candy. Like,
So one of the things that you do is to, I guess, here's, I know I'm kind of on a rabbit trail here, but what are some of your thoughts just about if you wanted to see someone start a business and be successful? What are some thoughts that you think they need to
I mean, really focus on why they want to do this. Because really learning why also might help you realize how big of a business you want to do. You know, which can change down the road. It changed with me. It definitely changed. I mean, I would say I had the dreams. I had the dreams of like we can build multiple trucks and we can do this, but I didn't have the right mindset of in my heart. I was like, oh, it's going to be just I can do this and I can make whatever a week or a day. At that point, it was like as long as I make this much a day, I can pay my bills. Um, so if they get their mindset right, really figure out why they want to do this. Um, and then they can be clear of, okay, if this is why I want to do this, now I know how big I want to grow the company. How do I want employees or don't I want employees? And, how I'm going to do the marketing. It's what kind of customers do I want? Do there's a lot of factors, but it's really not that complicated at the end. If you figure out why you want to do stuff, that's all that matters.
do? So, what are some things that people can do to start figuring out what is their why?
Focus on what makes you happy. Start thinking that. Um, I mean, really, reading those kinds of books. Start with why. You read that book, that'll help. Multiple. There's multiple books on it, but I think if you just read the book or listen to the Audible, it at least gets you thinking of why you want to do something. And then, I mean, if if you like to write, start writing them. Start writing what start writing what you want to do in a year, what you want to do in 5 years, what you want to look like when it's time to retire. What does that look like?
As
You
Daniel
know,
put up here earlier, a vision board.
vision board.
It's it's super important to have a vision board. Do you have a vision board? What's on your vision board? What do you want to look? What's your vision board for the next 6 months? What's your vision board for the next 5 years? Where's your vision board for 10 years? What are some things that you want to accomplish? You know, a lot of times people think that I don't have a vision. I don't know what my vision is. I don't know what I want. I don't know any of those things. And that's one of the things that are going to hold you back, right? Because if you don't put on the vision board that I want to have a business doing $1 million a year, you're probably never going to get to it, or very unlikely, because you don't see it at that point. And so maybe maybe it isn't doing 1 million. Maybe you are happy at what you consider success is at $100,000, and that's a great place to be, because not everybody's success is going to be what someone else's success is. And it's important that as we start trying to figure out what success is, and sometimes it changes, you know, my success has changed a lot over the year of what I look at successful. You know, my first success was hitting $10,000 a month. That was a success. And then it was hitting a $50,000 a month. And not that that's success, it was just a goal that I had reached. And sometimes we got to be careful when we don't go at and show the wins. You know, a lot of times we don't even know what wins are. We don't even look at the wins. We just keep trying to go for a higher number, and all we just keep chasing a higher number, and that doesn't do you no good a lot of times. And you know, in a lot of my meetings that I do that are on the Monday nights, and this is what have been a win for you this week, because a lot of times when you look at the gap, what we didn't get versus what did we gain, you know, in the last year I came from here and now I'm here, which is amazing. Like, I would have never thought about that. I would never dreamed of that. And so we got to look at our wins so that we can see where we are and how we're gaining, instead of looking at the gap and wishing we would get there. And yes, I know I said we got to do a vision board, but we also have to have an eye, because if we're not shooting at something and we're just shooting at everything, then it's going to be hard to be able to get anything, because we're not targeting in and saying, hey, I want my business to hit $100,000 this year or $100,000 this month. And some people might think that you're crazy. And if you talk to people around you that don't believe the same as you are, they're going to laugh at you and say, there's no way you're going to do it. And they're going to be doubtful of it. And that's not good, because that's going to get in your head if you're not careful. So, that's why I say a lot of times, don't get around negative people, because negative people can kill your dreams faster than anything else out there. Because if they say it enough, you'll start believing in it too. And so that's why it's important. But this also goes with the words that you say and the words that you do. If you say you can't get something in your market, you're literally telling yourself that you can't do it. And that's not what I want. That's not what I'm trying to teach you. Is if you want it, say it. Start saying it. The reason why I teach you to read books of Think and Grow Rich is because when you start thinking differently, you can start doing amazing things. And a lot of times you don't even realize that you're doing it at that point once you start doing these things. So that's
You
why
hit
it's important that you can do that. Go ahead. I see
you
you.
hit you hit exactly, like every point you hit was exactly what I was thinking. I I was before you said it, I was just gonna say it's like us. I would say, hey, let's go target practice. Let's go shoot some guns, and we go there, and I just say, no, just shoot. Don't aim at nothing, right? That's what are you gonna hit? I don't know. Like it's the same way in success. Like it's the same way. Like the people that I want to lose some weight, and they're like, well, how much weight you gonna lose? Oh, I don't, they get scared of saying a number when realistically they should. If you don't put a number on it, you're not gonna hit it. I just want to lose some weight. How much? What's some weight? A pound? 5, 20, 50? I mean, how much did you lose, Jason?
First time off, I lost almost 75 pounds.
That's amazing.
It is amazing.
And then the point of your friends, like when I was at the garbage company, there's some good people there, but I mean, there was probably a lot of people that laughed at me, like, oh, this guy, and now, I've got a couple people I talk to, and they're like, man, I'm really proud of you that you're doing some good things, but you can't hang around negative people. If the negative people will bring you down, and it's not their fault. They don't realize it. A lot of people, they don't realize they're bringing you down, and you can still care for somebody every once in a while, talk to them, but if you're around them a lot, it will bring you down. you know Part of the networking, it's I just trying to get in the rooms with really successful people. There's some groups that I might never do business with them, and they might not refer me, but just being around them and how successful they are and their mindset is is worth it. That's worth my time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean, I can't stress that enough. And the other book I would say to read after you get going, if you want to grow bigger, is Who Not How. That'll help you think about how to get past some stuff. Use people that can do something better than you.
uh, yes. So let's see here. Find a passion and a balance in life is what Eric Beck put, and then um, Max put, "Yo, Jeremy, bro, what's up?"
And he's in our area. He's what a lot of people would call a competitor. I call him a friend.
Uh,
We've
Jason,
helped each other out.
I don't think you realize how powerful that line was that you just said. Negative people are so dangerous. Oh, I know how powerful it is. Your five closest friends will dictate the next 3 to 5 years of your life. Choose wisely.
You know, One thing I like that I learned from Michael Burnoff is one of the many things is people are not their actions. Like even if people are mean to you, people are not their actions. If you really live by that, people could do something really bad to you, and it's like, okay, I forgive them. They're just that's the way they are. They're not. You can get past it. You can move on. I mean, just their negative mindset. Okay, that's on them.
So, one of the things that I been really, even myself, is you got to get yourself in the room with successful people. And sometimes you have to pay to get yourself into those rooms. Sometimes you don't, but most of the times you have to pay to get in there. And I will say, when I was in business, that wasn't something that I took as a priority. And I didn't know any better because I didn't know what I didn't know. And I think it's important that as you start growing, and not just your business, but yourself, it's important that you get into the right rooms. Because, you know, I know people that spend six figures to get into the rooms with billionaires, multiple six figures, because they understand the people that you get around. And I know some of you are going to say, well, Jason, you're talking $100,000 a month. How much is that? Well, some of these people, right? I know that there's a pressure washer that's not even 30 years old, and he's doing $3, $4 million a year. But he pays a lot of money to be in masterminds. He spends $250,000 a year to be in masterminds so that he can be in rooms sitting next to multi millionaires. And this is something that I know that sometimes we don't always think about that, but it's very important that you start looking at who is in your corner, right? Who is the people that you are learning from? And that's the key to success. And when you start looking at these people that are in where you want to be at, a lot of times they ain't got a lot of friends either. They're very they don't have a lot of other people. You're kind of, as an entrepreneur, a lot of times there's times that you are lonely. There's not a lot of people out there that understand you. You're not normal. That's just the way it is. You're not normal. Us entrepreneurs are weird because we don't fit into the box that you go to school, you get a good job, and you just stay there. We throw the box away, and we're like, we don't want that box. We're going to make our own box that's over here, that's a circle that doesn't look nothing like the square over there. And so it's important that you get around people that are successful, that you can rub shoulders with and talk, and you can have a lot deeper conversations when you get around people that are like you. And so that's the key of how to grow a business. You know, One of the things I see a lot of people that don't do this is they get around these other people and then they wonder why they can't grow. And that's I'm just trying to help you guys out. You know, would you agree with that, Jeremy?
Oh, 100%. 100%. It's really important to get around. The perfect example I was thinking about is Tommy Mello. Everybody knows who he is, probably. He's spending millions a year. He's paying Dan Martell over $1 million a year just to maybe him get a little bit better. It's that important. I mean, there's all these different networks. The Genius Network, that's 100,000 a year to
Right.
join it.
Right.
And we know
And
someone
and
that's
and here's the thing, right? I went to Michael Burnoff's thing last week, and two people in my circle group that I had were both in the Genius Network. So that's what I'm talking about. That I spent all weekend with two people that were in the Genius Network. That was just in my circle alone. So just think about that when you are looking at growing your business, at growing your network, at looking at people to find where you can learn better from.
are you planning on going to that event again?
Yeah, probably.
Probably. It's not very confident.
uh, I thought I was just weird. No, we're all weird.
That the whole, you always hear that it's lonely when, entrepreneur or people say it's lonely at the top, but that's not it. Um, I, I always thought that was kind of like bullshit, but it really can be. And then you find out like the groups, the Genius Networks, the Michael Burnoffs, um, that's where you find your best friends. They're all weird like you. Because I dealt with I would be hanging out with friends and in the middle of the party, and I'm bringing up like an idea to them, and they're just looking at me like, dude, I just want to drink. Why are you talking about work? Why are you talking about business? Like it's different. And then you start thinking like that, like, yeah, I just should shut off my brain and drink, and that's not important right now. So I want to be around people that when I talk about an idea, even if they're not in our industry, they get excited because you're excited. You're coming up with ideas. You're thinking like they love that shit.
Yep, they do. So one of the things that Jeremy and I are going to be doing is a class up in Michigan doing Christmas lights and permanent lights and marketing. And you can hang out with us. You can ride around on the boat with us. You can learn and grow and get ideas and see the shop and all of that. So if you do want to think about joining us, you can check out christmaslights.io/IPT. It's going to be in June. It's a little over a month away, but it is definitely something that I guarantee you will learn a lot. And not only that, the networking is always awesome too. So definitely check that out if you want to. Also, I have a giveaway that if you go to christmaslights.io/UZ, that is where you can do the um, giveaway. It's going to be $500. I'm giving it away June 15th, which is Father's Day. So that is something that I won that I'm going to give back to the community. And so that's what I'm giving you all so that way you can try to win the $500. If you're in pressure washing, you can also do the same thing. So that is definitely something that you can do. So before we jump off here, what are some words I never heard of these groups? I know I need to begin networking a lot just outside of my friends. Yep. So what are some words of wisdom before we jump off here, Jeremy?
Just know your why, take action, and be great.
Yeah, and he is not the author
Oh.
of Know Your Why. It is Simon Connect or Simon
Cynics.
Cynic is what the
I think
that
that's
author is. What is your why or Know Your Why, whatever it is. So
and I haven't thought about that book in a long time.
right. So with that, that's all I've got tonight. One of the things that Jeremy and I are probably going to be doing here in the future, we've been working on something together, and we will be having a podcast that will be focused on mindset. And I don't know if we're going to do it live or if we're just going to do podcast style and then video and then just let it out that way. But that is something that we are working on. So look at that in the future. And so it won't be as much as what we did here tonight. It'll be just more of back and forth and kind of talking of we're really going to hit on mindset and success as a man is probably is the way that we were looking at. It's going to be more toward men instead of just general. So it'll be about health, wealth, and growing as a man. So and fatherhood. So them are the things that we are looking at doing. So stay tuned and keep an eye out on that. But other than that, we'll see you all later.
Later, guys.